Hey, Mama friends. This week on the Mama Gets It Done podcast, we are talking all about getting out of survival mode. So, if you feel like you're in survival mode or you just don't really know what that is and maybe you want to find out more, listen, we got some good stuff coming. Are you ready to be more productive in your home and say goodbye to the dreaded mom guilt associated with a messy house and chaotic days? Hey, my name's Rachel, and the Mama Gets It Done podcast is for the everyday mom. Yes, even those hot mess moms who just need a little grace and a few tips for getting more done in your day. If you're ready to figure out how to stop hating cooking every night, how to give chaotic days a little more structure, and how to find more time for you in this crazy mom life, then you are in the right place. Before we start this week's podcast, I have to let you all know October 11th, I am going to be hosting a 10-day challenge for business moms where we go through and set routines and systems that are going to help really revamp your productivity so that you can get more done in the craziness that is your days. You can get your spot right now at the link in the show notes, and I cannot wait to do this with you all. So grab it up before the doors close. Hello, friends. All right, moms, let's be honest. Survival mode is something that a lot of us have probably gone into often. And if you don't know what survival mode is, let me just give you a rundown of what survival mode can look like, and we'll see what you think about it. Currently, I would say we were definitely in survival mode like the last week or the week before that, whichever week it was, Lord. And that's kind of what spurred on this podcast was I firmly believe that survival mode is actually necessary sometimes, contrary to popular belief, but it's getting out of survival mode that is important and that we need to do because over a long-term period of time, survival mode is not good for you and it's not good for your family. So what does it look like if we're in survival mode, right? Typically this happens whenever we have a big life change that we don't really have a lot of control over, or even if we did have a lot of control over the change, the outcome of it is something we just haven't adapted for and can't until we're really in that situation. Um and it also can come from us just starting to say yes to too many things and really not taking a step back and looking at our schedule and our priorities and what we need to be doing. So, here's some things that you can really think about. Am I in survival mode? Because maybe you don't even realize you're in it, right? You constantly feel like you're behind no matter what you do. Instead of doing things on time or early, you're always playing catch up, basically. You're too tired to do anything other than the absolute priorities. And so that probably means your house is not getting touched at all. Your kids may be making it to school and their basic needs are being met, but you're not getting to any of the other things that you need to do in your life other than those very, very important things. Um, you may be ordering out for almost every meal because you can't even fathom a meal planning, prepping, or anything like that. And you're becoming super forgetful too because you can't seem to keep track of all the things that are going on, and it's just become really overwhelming to manage. Um, so if you feel like any of those or a few of those align, you may or may not be in survival mode. I'm not going to diagnose anyone here, but I can tell you in the past week or so, we were doing a kitchen renovation. Big change, right? Big red flag there, big change. So my husband couldn't do any of the normal household duties that he would normally do because he was renovating our kitchen. And then on top of that, we had some really unfortunate just life circumstances happen and to where we were just emotionally not in a good place. And so when we got through the week, it was my house was a disaster. The clothes that I had washed the previous week were and folded and sorted. They were all over the clean clothes were all over the floor of my bedroom because I couldn't get them put up, and my kids just kept going through them to try and find clothes for school, and so did I. And so we just were in a state of just continual, like, all I would do, I'd run them to school, I'd come do the work things that I had to do, and then I would immediately go to the next thing that I felt like I had to do, but everything else around me was getting neglected, and I was snippy, and I was not very nice, and I was very forgetful. I had an appointment that I had scheduled that I forgot about. So it was just like the overwhelming things, all these overwhelming things happened at one time, and you just don't know there's always like things that are going to happen that we don't know how to handle, right? That we haven't planned for or scheduled for. And that's kind of was our trigger to be like, okay, we're shutting down all the trying to do other things, and we are just trying to survive right now. That's all we're trying to do. And honestly, it was okay for that week. It's okay that I had a lot of dishes in my sink. It's okay that I had laundry piled up all over my floor. That's okay, because I have taken the steps to get us. We are now out of survival mode, and I'm catching up on laundry. My dishes are mostly done. Work is actually finally getting done ahead of time instead of like right when it has to be done or late. Let's be honest. So I'm gonna take you guys through all the things that maybe you can do to get yourselves out of this like survival mode so that you can become more productive and stop like chasing the cycle of overwhelm, right? So let's jump into these very important tips. Okay, so when we're trying to get out of survival mode and we're trying to get more back into like a normal routine and a more productive place, there are some very important things that we can do. So, number one, I'm going to tell you is to take this one step at a time. Don't try and like bite off more than you can chew, because that's just going to kick you right back in the teeth and send you right back into that overwhelm cycle of never endingness, right? I know that's not a real word, but it fits, right? So take it one step at a time. I want you to only plan at first, plan one task a day that you're going to get done. Now, this to me, it would be like my one task would be like fold that laundry. That's it. Fold the laundry, put it away. And that's one task. And that's literally what I did 3 days ago. That's all I folded laundry. And that was what I did that day. I didn't do anything else around my house. Folded the laundry. And usually my general recommendation is 3 things a day. So start with one. Don't start and try and jump right into what you would normally do, because you're just going to overwhelm yourself. You've been through some things. Your house is probably a mess, and that's okay. But we're going to take some steps to get back to a more productive and healthy place for you and your kids. Because, if we didn't quite mention this before, but the survival mode has an effect on your kids as well as you. Like, because you're constantly stressed and overwhelmed and all that stuff, your kids are going to be stressed and overwhelmed and all that stuff. They feed off you. So getting out of the survival mode is more important for getting out of this survival mode is important for more than just you. It's important for your kids too. Okay, so we're going to take it slow. We're going to take one task at a time. And then you can eventually inch yourself up when you start feeling ready for it. Number 2, a big thing is to pinpoint those pain points. So what are the things, really pinpoint, what are the things that are making you overwhelmed and stressed out in your home? And maybe those are some things we can address. Maybe they're not, right? We're going to do our best here. So the one thing that I was having a really hard time with was the clothes all over my floor. So first step, put them in a basket. I didn't do anything but put them in a basket the day before I washed them. I didn't try and jump the gun and do a ton of things, but I just picked them all up and separated them into baskets. That was it. I also went out and bought more baskets because I realized that because I hadn't bought laundry baskets since college. Yes, I've been using the same laundry baskets for 10 years. Our system wasn't working very well because I didn't have the things I needed for the system. have to make sure you have those things you need for your systems to thrive as much as you can, anyways. Obviously, I mean, yes, it would be great if I had a one of those robot vacuums that mopped too, right? That would make my system work great. But that's not a basic need of the system. That's just something that would be nice to have. So if it's within your means, like obviously, I went out and I spent like $40 on like 4 new laundry baskets. If that's outside of your reach, it's okay. Dollar Tree, friends, Dollar Tree has dollar baskets. In case you were wondering. But really pinpointing these pain points and like what is bringing you stress. Is it the dishes? Okay, we're going to try and tackle those dishes. That way the next day, that pain point is gone. And this is where too you can start identifying in your home places that maybe you do need some better systems. That was something that I noticed, was that our laundry system just broke down and failed immediately. Was really because after we moved a few months ago, we never developed a new laundry system that fit our new lifestyle that we had here and our new schedule. And so we had failed on that end, and then it failed us later. So identify those places that are the biggest pain points, the biggest things that are nagging you in the back of your head, and make that your one task that you're going to do that day to address it. Maybe it's making a meal plan. Maybe it's prepping some food. Maybe it's just cleaning your fridge so you can actually get the food in it. Anything to like give you steps forward. It would be great if you could get your family in on this too, so that you tackle this a little bit quicker, but it's okay if you can't. Well, I firmly believe that you should like separate those household duties as you can. Well, it would be nice if it was 50-50, but I feel like most of the time it's like one spouse and the other spouse, like you kind of trade anyways. If you have a good system going and you do have 2 people working in the home, or working on the home, a lot of times with my husband and I, it's like sometimes it's a 60-40, sometimes it's a 70-30, sometimes it's a 50-50. That does happen, but like we both go back and forth on who's doing more. For a long time, my husband was the one who was doing more. And now he's been a little busier with work, and I've had more flexibility with the kids gone. So I've taken a few more roles on. It's okay because I have the time and I have the ability to do it. And we just go back and forth. It's very much a flexible thing that goes. So try and get your family in on this if you can. It's okay if you cannot. That leads us to our next point, though, is to ask for help if you need it. And that's not even just your immediate family that's living in your home. Ask a friend, ask your mom, ask your dad, ask like whoever you've got in your life, ask them for help. And now I am saying this, and I'm honestly, quite honestly, terrible at it. But the people in my life, after I'll talk to them and tell them about what we're going through, and they're like, why didn't you call me? Why didn't you let me know? I could have come over. And I'm like, quite honestly, I didn't, that stresses me out to make this your problem. And it doesn't make it their problem. Most of the time, they're very happy to help, and they want to help you be a better you. And it's okay to admit, because we've all been there, that like you're in the weeds and you need help getting out of them. You need somebody just to take your kids for an hour, or maybe it's to come help you organize your closet or something like that. And maybe you can help them in return. Maybe you can say, well, this is something, like for me anyways, the meal prepping and planning thing, so easy for me. Yes, let me prep some meals for you and I will send them so you can, like, this will help you out. Like, do life together and find that the people who are going to be a support for you and you can be a support for them, and it will make all the difference. Another thing that's really going to help with your mental space and like the thought processes going through your head when you're in this like survival mode and you're trying to get out of it, is to really acknowledge your priorities, right? And ask yourself, what is the worst thing that's going to happen if my laundry isn't done? So honestly, the worst thing that happened for us was the kids got to pick out outfits for school, and maybe they were a little weird because there wasn't a ton of clean clothes. That's the worst thing that happened. So that's not that bad. It's okay. You know, it's okay to put that task off for a little bit for your sanity, for your mental health, so that you can get back on track to the place you want to be. And it's okay to acknowledge that, yeah, that's not getting done today. And I'm not going to do it. Maybe it won't get done tomorrow, but eventually it will get done and it'll be okay. What's going to happen if the dishes sit in the sink overnight? It may smell a little funny. Maybe not. Like, there's, like, obviously there are some things that, you might get gross and moldy in there or something like that if you don't, like, really address it sooner rather than later. But that's one of the things is, like, if that's really, like, something that's gross to you, which with us, yeah, we don't want that going on in our house. Like, I would address it. But, like, I'm sorry, but, like, mopping your floors, while, yes, mopping your floors is a good thing, we should do it, it's going to fall to the bottom of my list and I'll spot clean until I have time to mop my floors, you just prioritize what you have to until you can get into those good routines where everything actually does get done. And that's okay. You're not hurting your family by doing that. You're helping you be the mom you need to be and them to have the safe home they need to have. Another step that's going to be really helpful in you, like, getting out of this mode is going to be to make a flexible schedule and to slowly start implementing systems. So the example would be, like, week 1, we're going to tackle dishes and we're going to make a system around that in the week 1. And then maybe in week 2, we tackle laundry and we make a system around tackling our laundry. Now, maybe it doesn't move that fast. And maybe, like, in week 1, you do dishes one day. And, like, obviously dishes is a daily thing usually. So it's really easy to come up with or to, like, trial and error a system with dishes. Where something like laundry, maybe it's a little harder to trial and error that system. So it may take a little longer. But start working on that and really start thinking about what the steps that you're taking in your day and what you're doing and how you can make it better. Now, keep in mind at the same time, we are still taking the one step at a time approach. We are still only doing bit by bit. But giving your day some general structure is absolutely going to help with that. Again, that free Busy Mama Daily Reset is massive for this. It's a big help. Definitely go download it at the link in the show notes. And then lastly, you're not going to be surprised about this one because I pretty much shout it from the rooftops, is to make sure you're taking time for yourself. This is a non-negotiable because this is the thing that helps you be a good mother and it helps you be a good, like, person in general. And a sane person, a mentally healthy person, is to take time for yourself. And it's okay for other things to sit and not get done for you to take time for yourself. Because that will get you out of that completely overwhelmed state where you can actually think clearly. Maybe you start actually remembering the things you need to remember. You can keep up with the dishes a little bit more because you're not stressed and trying to do everything in the world and get everything halfway done instead of getting one thing done. I just find that taking time for yourself really helps you focus in on what matters, what's important. And then also make sure you're taking time with your kids. And you're, like, even though you have a million things on your plate, your kids are obviously a priority. And you need to make sure you're taking time to spend with them, like, dedicated time. It doesn't have to be a ton. When I say this dedicated time, it could be 10 or 15, 30 minutes, whatever. Whatever they're comfortable with. With my kids, it's usually cuddling on the couch. And I'll ask them about their day and we'll talk for a minute, but they don't want to talk to me for that long. And then we'll cuddle and we'll watch a show or something. Like, that's that. That is their dedicated time, and they really need that, and they thrive off that too. So when you're coming out of this survival mode, like, just make sure you're giving them the time they need to, because they've also went through survival mode. Like, their life has been kind of crazy for a little bit. It's okay to slowly take steps to making it better, and make sure that we're like instituting these important things first. All right, mama friends, and now we're here to the point in the podcast where we're talking about our productivity hack of the week. Now, this productivity hack is something that you've probably heard before, but I just want to reiterate it because it's important for people, and also I'm one who like struggles with this. So, productivity hack of the week this week is it's okay to say no. Make sure that you are thinking about whenever you have opportunities that arise, or events, or it's just somebody is asking for help. While we always want to be, in my opinion, I'm always one who I want to help as much as I possibly can, and I want to do all the things that I possibly can. A lot of times I say yes to too many things, and I put myself and my family in situations where we are overstressed and overbooked. So start saying no more often. If you're one of those people, start saying no more often, and watch how much healthier and happier you and your family are, because you can actually have time to stop and calm down rather than constantly going and doing something. Um it's really nice to help people, and we should, but when it comes at a like cost to your mental health and your family's mental health, then it becomes problematic. So make sure when we're getting asked to do things and to help with things and all this kind of stuff, make sure that you're really looking at your priorities and your schedule and your family's happiness and health before you say that yes. Thank you so much for listening to the Mama Gets It Done podcast this week. I cannot wait to come back next week and chat with you more. Definitely hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and leave a review. We really appreciate them all. Seriously, you guys are the best. And I'll talk to you guys next week. Yourself a whole little bit of grace and a whole lot of coffee. Bye. Don't forget to sign up for our Busy Business Mama Schedules and Systems Challenge. It's going to be 10 days of really focusing in on these systems and schedules and planning out the rest of the year so that you can get those goals met. The doors will close soon, and I do not know when we're doing this again, so definitely hop on it. I am so excited to join in with you all. You can find all the details at the link in the show notes. Bye.